when you see opportunities, you just seize it. So I had the opportunity of listening to Daryl and Daniel in Singapore for the Asia Pacific Autism Conference. It happens every 2 years actually. The next one will be in Perth if anybody's interested. Now I had the opportunity to listen to them, and their story really inspired me. So when I knew they were coming to KL, I just tried my luck and just texted them over Facebook Messenger like, hey, I heard you speak. You really inspired me. You're such an inspiration. Would you be open to speaking to our parents and our therapists here at ABC? And they said yes. So without further ado, I would really like to thank them for coming, and I'm going to hand over the mic because they have such an amazing story to share with us today. Thank you again.
Good afternoon and welcome to our presentation. I'm Daniel Giles, a self-advocate for someone living with autism, and this is my father Daryl. He has been an amazing support on my journey to independence.
Thanks, Daniel. So Daniel began his education at a special developmental school, and we quickly progressed to a dual enrolment, which saw Daniel attend part-time at a mainstream school and part-time at the special school. And by grade 5, Daniel graduated from the special school and attended the mainstream school full-time. So we gradually built up the hours at the mainstream school. Now, Daniel has achieved much in his short life, including speaking for the first time at a special educators conference at the age of 13 years. And he has continued his passion to inform parents, service providers and educators on many platforms, including the Asia Pacific Autism Conferences in 2013 and 2017, and just last week in Singapore also. In April 2017, Daniel presented at an international autism conference in Bhutan. Daniel has been a strong advocate for disability inclusion, acceptance and understanding, and this has been through many platforms, including, and this is the very short list, the Victorian Disability Advisory Council, which is through our state government's Department of Health and Human Services, the Public Transport Victoria Access Council, so that's our rail system, and many other similar bodies. So Daniel was the City of Greater Bendigo, that's our hometown, was the City of Greater Bendigo's Young Citizen of the Year in 2008. And he used this honour to engage people in his mission of social justice. And in June 2017, Daniel was honoured to receive an Order of Australia medal, so that's in the Australian honours system, for his services, sorry this is hard to get out sometimes, for his services to disability and the community. So it's now my great pleasure to introduce to you Daniel Giles, OAM.
Thank you. I'm pleased to be able to present to you from the horse's mouth, or interpreted literally, the lived experience. This afternoon, I hope to provide to you some insights to better understanding what it is like for me to live day to day on the autism spectrum, and provide to you a better understanding of some of the challenges I face each day and how I found a way to embrace my autism and manage challenges so I can live a good quality of life.
So also, I hope to bring some insight into the role of the parents of a person on the spectrum, and also some of the strategies that have helped to support Daniel in overcoming some of the difficulties faced by him. It's our aim that these insights will help you to better understand that special person in your life who lives on the autism spectrum, so that you can help them to achieve to their full potential. Of course, every person on the spectrum is different. Who would have thought? So finding the key that opens the door to their world varies from person to person.
I was diagnosed at the age of 2.5 years. I had limited verbal communication. I spent a lot of time stimming, flapping my hands, flicking sticks and eating dirt and sand. On this note, I still often stim at home, and it actually helps me to process thoughts. Occasionally, when I'm anxious, I may flap in public to assist in self-regulation. I did not understand the world around me and felt as if I was behind a glass wall, observing what was happening in the world around me, but not being able to participate in it. It was like watching a TV show play out around me, but I didn't feel like I was a part of it. Now guess what my favourite colour was and still is? Yeah.
Red. Yes. How did you guess? So when Daniel was diagnosed, and that was 27 or so years ago, I had never heard the word autism. So back then there was not as much awareness about autism as there is now. So for me, understanding the diagnosis took quite some time. I had a lot of catching up to do. Now as a parent, the diagnosis of your child is an emotional roller coaster ride. And this emotional roller coaster brings with it many feelings, and those are feelings like, wow, now that I know what I'm dealing with, I can arm myself with the tools and the information to make a difference for my child, and also for my family. There's also the why me. So what have I done to deserve to be sent on this path? And it's normal to question this path your family is now on and what it means for the future. But there is another side to that emotion, and that is, why not me? So maybe some greater power believes that I have what it takes to do this for my child and my family. There's also, what now? So how do I deal with this to the best of my ability? And what does the future hold for me, for my child and my family? And of course, importantly, there's also that emotion of grief or loss. The loss of the perception of having a normal child. And I want to bring this into a little perspective for you, using one of Daniel's sayings that I really, really love. And that saying is that normal is the setting on a washing machine. And again, it holds true that we're all different and no two people are alike. So it's a very important aspect of the process of accepting and coming to terms with a diagnosis such as autism, to experience these emotions as they're a natural part of accepting what lies ahead for you. As Daniel grew, I was determined to teach Daniel to integrate into the world around us. And to do this, I needed to be aware of the things that made it difficult for Daniel. So what were his triggers or his stresses? I aimed for limited adjustments to accommodate for his autism. And often those adjustments started as greater and gradually built to making them less. And there's a saying that we've tried to live by and tried to follow. And that saying is, prepare the child for the world and not the world for the child. So with this in mind, as you move forward from the diagnosis, one of the best things you can serve to your child, in my opinion, is a good and consistent, and I really stress the word consistent, and measured dose of tough love. And believe me, this can be just as tough on you as a parent as it can be on your child. But in my opinion, tough love used in the appropriate ways brings with it great benefits for the future of the child. Now I want to start by clarifying what I mean by tough love. So it's authoritative parenting, not authoritarian parenting. And that means it's supporting your child in a nurturing way to achieving their best outcomes. So it's not wrapping up your child up in cotton wool, and it's not disciplinarian or punitive. It's rewards-based, so it's not punishment-based. Now, I really wanted to clarify the nature of what I see as tough love or authoritative parenting. So we've done some research, and this is what we found that was most concisely described what I'm talking about. I'm going to leave it up there for a minute for you to have a read of or take a photo of if you like. And if you miss it and you want to grab a photo later on, come and see us. Okay, so I'll move along, but as I said, if you want to grab a photo of that later so that you can reread, please come and see us. So my version of tough love is a careful mix of assessing for each situation. Three things. Firstly, what are the generally accepted social expectations for this situation? Or put more simply, what would most parents expect of their child in the current setting? Or what is the norm? And that question on its own is really difficult to answer because different parents have different expectations. So you need to find where your expectations lie and build from there. Secondly, you need to take into account your child's needs, his or her abilities, and what they will find difficult in that particular setting. So, do they have auditory processing issues? So will they struggle with lots of noise? Do they have visual processing issues? So will different forms of light make it difficult for them? Or do they struggle with close contact or touch? Is there something in the setting that will instill in them great fear or great difficulty? So one example of this is Daniel has for a long time, and still does, have a great fear of dogs. So there were many times when Daniel was young, we'd be walking along the street hand in hand, and Daniel would have a meltdown and start to climb for my shoulders. So while I would be comforting him, I would be assessing the surroundings to try and work out what the trigger was to his reaction. And often, I would see that there would be a dog approaching us. Now, he was so sensitive that that dog could have been 200 or 300 metres away from us. And it might have been on lead or it might have been off lead, it didn't really matter. So Daniel still struggles with this, but he's getting better and he's working hard at it. And, dogs that he knows he's much more comfortable with, but if he's out and about and there's a dog off lead, he will really struggle still. Now back to tough love. So thirdly, and I think most importantly, you need to find the balance between the norm and your child's needs. So how can you find some middle ground that will extend your child to be able to cope with the situation and participate as much as possible and to grow from there? So this might include allowing them the discreet or appropriate use of a special item. Something that they love that will help them to remain calm and engaged while they're in the situation at hand. So that might be something small that they can hold with them that helps them to stay calm because it's one of their really special items. Or it might be something else that is the reward at the end of the activity that they're doing. So they know that at the end of the activity, they get that reward, and that's the driver for them to participate. And usually this will be a gradual process where you work to extend your child's ability to take part more and more with less and less adjustment over time.
Some other memories of early childhood include me associating certain words with something totally different due to my struggle to process the spoken word. For example, when my dad used to say promise, I used to associate it with Thomas the Tank Engine. At school, teachers used to say we were doing circuit training, meaning physics. However, I used to take the word training literally and think we were about to go on a train ride. One big challenge I faced was taking things literally. Now, do you really think this picture is an oval? Where I questioned a teacher at primary school on why our school playing field was called an oval when it was rectangular shape. This teacher understood that I was taking things literally and took the time to explain this to me.
So can I ask, what do you call your playing fields here? Do you call them a playing field or? Yeah, so traditionally back in Australia, the school playing field is referred to as the oval because our football playing fields are oval in shape and just everyone refers to them as the oval, but Daniel's school it was rectangular and he couldn't connect with why it was referred to as an oval. So there's lots of simple things like that that are taken literally that we don't even think about in our journey until it's pointed out to us. Now we've got to a point now for some audience participation. So I hope that you're all comfortable with this. So we're going to do a little sensory overload simulation for you. And to do this, I'll explain it before we move. But once I've explained it, I'll give you the instructions and we'll get you into groups of 5 and we'll get you to do this activity just for a few minutes to give you a bit of a taste of sensory overload. Well, as best we can. So I'll just say before we start that if you already have issues with sensory overload, feel free not to take part. But I'll explain it now and then we'll hand out the instructions. We'll get you into groups of 5 and away we go. And if we're really quick in getting organised, you might have time to rotate so a couple of people get the chance to play that role. So in the groups of 5, person number 1 is going to play the role of the person who lives on the autism spectrum. And their job is, and I don't want you to look at it until you start, on the back of the instructions there's some text. Now the text itself isn't important, but we want you to read that just to yourself, not out loud, just to yourself. You don't have to read the whole lot. You can start wherever you like in it. It's just reading it as the point of the exercise. Person number 2, we want you to turn on the light on your phone. Just bear with me a second. If you're lucky like me, you might have a strobe light. That's even better. And your job is to do this with the light, about that far away from the person who's reading the text. Person number 3 we want you to get out your phone and find some music. So some loud music's really good for this. And same deal, we want you to have it about here, move it around a bit, so it's not, a steady constant. Person number 4, your job is to stand behind person number 1 and vigorously tap the back of that person. So, not a massage, and not assault, just somewhere in the middle, please. Person number 5 will give you one of our business cards. And we want you to rub that up and down the side of the neck of person number 1. So I think you're all starting to get the picture a little bit. So I'll hand this around, quickly get into the groups of 5 and decide who's playing what roles. And as I said, if you can get going really quickly, we might have time to rotate through so 2 or 3 people get a chance of playing role number 1.